Hi. Today, Guy with a razor, I turn this with the help of this into that. Do something. Anyway, that. Yeah, wait a minute. Bam! Here they are, welded up, bed linered. I used Duplicolor bed liner. Just did the outer 3/4 of the pipes, I guess you'd say. Got both sides on, mounted up. They are stout and on there. So the plan is, I've got 1 3/4 outside. It's not DOM, it's Electro welded. It's half the price, pretty much the same stuff. I'm not building roll cages. It just needs to keep some rocks and trees off the side of the razor. So we're gonna take and get these cut down. I measured before. I want them to end up being about 41 inches on the straight piece and 43 on my angled kicker. So if you go to the steel store, you can just take your saw with you or have them cut it, and you can just went 7 foot, so I got 3 foot 6 inches. That's a couple inches extra. I'm gonna get them cut down, and then I'm gonna start working on mounts for the lower piece right away. I did find a site that sells the bent bolts with the threads already in them, so you can just snake those inside, run your little bolts in. You could go that route, or I did remember which rib nuts I used when I did mine. These have held up for, I guess that'd be 3 years now of some pretty decent abuse down in Tennessee. Not much for smashing them up here, but I'll get these used up and get these pounded into the frame, and then we'll start making brackets and go from there. So these guys are pretty self-explanatory. They came with a toolbox kit for mounting to a pickup truck, but we got our long bolt, some sort of grippy deal. Somebody'd probably tell you it's a die or something, I don't know. Put a little grease on the threads, insert in the hole. You can still see it's a little loose, but it flares out pretty good. 1/2 inch socket. And then unnecessary loud noises, you just hold that tool. Run her until she's snug. And there you have a nice threads. Now somebody's gonna tell me, well, when those get rusty, you'll never be able to take them off. Yeah, okay, so what? You have to cut the head of the bolt off and then figure out how to get that out after. I don't ever plan to take my rock sliders off, so like I said, I greased them. Good enough. Leave it for the next guy to worry about. 2 more to go. Got all 3 of those in pretty quick, pretty simple, not too hard to work with there. Run them in tight and they seem to stay. So next step is I want to measure. Now I'm going to be a little bit below the flares on this, so I'm going to go basically what'll be even with the bottoms of the flares, but because it's lower set, I should not have an issue with mounting them, and that'll come out to be 3 foot 5 inches. Or 41 inches. And since I cut my 2 pieces yesterday at 7 foot to haul them in the truck, I should be good. Yeah, should be good. So I got my pipe cleaned up, 1 3/4 Electro welded. I don't know what I said, 3 foot 5 inches. Yeah, 41 inches. Put a mark there. This is where you could use a grinder with a cutoff wheel You could use a hacksaw if you wanted, but I got the old Milwaukee. Drop that anywhere. So now we have our lower pipe. On mine, facing this direction, I left it a flat pipe. I have had a few times where a rock or a really hard 90-degree edge will catch right here. So I think on this one, I'm gonna end up, once I get it all welded, I'll put a little bit of a back angle on there just to keep from having to slam into stuff if you are sliding pretty heavy on this side. So here we have that one set. And I like to keep them pretty tight. So yeah, we're just below that one and just a tick past, which will kind of help keep this flare covered up. So now I have to figure out, where did my bigger angles go? Yeah, so that should work out about perfect. By the time we weld that across the top, you can see that it will have plenty of purchase on our, what am I trying to say here? The hole will be far enough down in here where it won't matter much. And I will be cutting a spacer out of some, I don't know, 1-inch pipe that'll hold it out just a little bit, and it will get welded to the back side of here, so you're not trying to squeeze the ever-living tar out of your plastics. So we'll start doing some measuring and cut our 2 lower brackets. Should get 2 pieces, 2 brackets out of 1 here. Looks like we're all set up here to tack these guys on now. I'll just get these tacked here. I can't see anything. Tack. How many of you sitting at home when you watch videos of guys welding always look away from the screen like you're gonna get flash burn? That's how you know you weld without your helmet on. No helmet. Yeah, so now we got our tacked in pretty good. Should be able to do one of these. So now that's out of the way. Now a taller bar, and on mine I made it real hard to get to these bolts, so I'm going to see if I can cheat that pipe right along this line. And that'll be this one here. So that should go like so ish, which if I do that, then I can put my kicker up here at the top, which I think I'm in a pickle. Well, since I want a more shallow bend, then you'd go like even a 45 or a 90. I'm going to try and cheat my little stopper rollers in here. I have too small of a die, but I think since we're just going a little bit, we can make it work. Thing I found out with bending this Electro welded pipe is the seam. I was using that as a nice reference line for which direction to spin the pipe to get angles of bends going different directions. But if you put this seam facing up and you bend, I guess I'd say away from the seam, it's almost guaranteed to kink every time. And if you have it at a, say, 90 degree or basically just not straight up or straight down, I seem to be getting away with better bends and not kinking it with this, even though it's not the right way to bend it, because this is a pipe bender, not a tubing bender. it works. So I'm gonna give it 4 more pumps. Actually, I'd say that's about right. So now you just go whack! You throw everything on the floor. But we got a nice bent pipe. It's not too dinked up on the inside. Nice rounded corner. The worst part is we got a little dimple right there and right there from bending it because my roller dies are in too close. So now that we got our pipe bent, we can see that it's sitting up too high, but I also want to keep it along this general line while still being able to get to these bolts, because I didn't do that on mine and it sucked. So we'll figure out what angle I like the kicker. I will mark what I will call the top line, and then we'll give it just a little bit of a scribe mark. So there's my notch. Now it should set in there just a little bit better. Give that a nice healthy tack without looking at it while you're welding. I'm going to start with the one back here, and I will say I need to cut that at 14 inches. Mark the center line following this pipe out as to where I want the high side and the low side to be. And then I just have it rough sharpied, and I figure if I can get this side notched correctly, then I can always shorten up the straight flat side if I need to later. Low speed, low pressure. You still get a crooked cut, but I feel like the grinder can fix that. Flap wheel. And we're in the right direction, so we've got it pretty well set on the bottom. I need some more angle, and I need to probably not, which now you could take the grinder and you could just follow this curve, which I might do, get a new battery on it, follow this curve until it just sets down into the back notch instead of trying to cut another one with the pipe notcher. Staring at nothing this whole time. Anyway, we got her more exaggerated, and I think I'm gonna have to take a half inch or so out. Now I want one, let's just go one here, right in the center of the O, and then I'll just put plate right there. Make this one lighter than the other one. We'll just go with a ballpark. We'll cut one at 8 inches, and then by the time I notch it, we'll do one flat, one at an angle. And I'll go do that now. Okay, got the bars in. I know it's not centered, but I think if you measure cubic area, we're pretty darn close here. So got that guy tacked in. Now I just got to figure out the bracket for here. So same deal, I'm just going to mark the holes, get that drilled, and mount that. And then once I get that bracket on, I'll look at how to make the upper bracket on here. Well, since I haven't found a good vise for a decent price yet, pull it. Didn't even know it. And I need some wiggle in the waggle of the back bracket support here. Take two crescent wrenches, put them opposite, find something a little springy, much like a tire, set them on, and then you just kind of pump it out. And then you have a nice piece of thick strapping that is custom bent for your application. Once you get your piece bent, lines up not too bad. We got her notched, cut, tacked. I mean, it's still tacked, but got my little filler plate made. Go for a trip underneath here. We got the support brackets disgustingly tack welded in there, but they're on. Easy access to all the bolts. Nice kicker at the top, trying to keep trees off of these because I ripped mine off within the first, I don't know, half an hour of driving it. So when I get it off, I'll cut this down, angle that, cap the ends, all three of them there, get her finish welded up, and then it'll be ready for paint. But for now, the incredibly difficult reason that most people probably don't do stuff like this is because you have to match the other side. This side, it was no rules nation. You just did whatever you wanted, tack it together. Yeah, it looks good enough. Now you got to try and copy it on the other side. So that'll be the big adventure there. Well, there we have them, off the machine, tacked up good enough to move. They're well within the close enough to each other for me to go ahead and finish weld them. I know what the difference is. I'm not going to tell you, because if I don't tell you, you probably won't ever notice it. But here they are. Going to use the back half of a gold wing as a nice little metal stand here. Pick up a couple rags there and go around and start finish welding it. I've got I did cut some more little gussets here that I'm going to weld in like so. And that should take a vertical pound from the bottom and a side bash from the outside. With the angle there, my holes all line up pretty good. I should have cut these off with the bandsaw before I weld them on, but we can hit them with the cutoff wheel and then smooth them out with the flap wheel after. So yeah, there we have it. I don't know, 3.5, 4 hours. Well, there we have it, ready for paint. Finished ground. Got my gussets in, front and back. We even got a little bit of a hot edge here on the old Miller 110. So don't be afraid to go out. Ooh, got a pocket. Don't be afraid to go out and get a little 110 welder. If you practice, yours can look like chicken manure as much as mine do. Oh, we got it ground up. I guess I got a few spots I got to clean up a little more, but yeah. Gonna start on the front bumper here. Pretty simple one on this guy. I did, if you're keeping track, I did get my pigtails and my older style distribution block, which I now have power steering, the winch wire, and the Boss audio. I got them mounted down in here, which when you're sitting in here, your foot's right here. You're not gonna kick those. Evidently my daughter was using them as a footrest already. So if those are in there, got the knob, power knob put right into factory plug knockout. And then it's Bluetooth, like I said, and it has auxiliary cord plug-in for like the old iPods if you wanted to run that. But I guess that's a wrap for building the rock slides on this one. Something comes up on your Trail S and you want to know some more about it, let me know. I'll probably do a oil change video, full service video on this when I get the miles racked up on this one. But we'll go from there. Hope to see you out on the trails.